Welcome to the latest episode of the Motivate Supplier Showcase. I'm Neil Smith, CEO of Motivate Automotive Consultancy, and in this series, I'm sitting down with the innovators behind the UK's most exciting automotive businesses, whether they're game-changing startups, industry disruptors, or established legends. We'll be diving into the latest digital and physical products currently shaking up the UK vehicle retail space. If it's making waves, we'll be covering it. My guest this week is Jeremy Evans, CEO and founder of Marketing Delivery, a business that builds customer marketing solutions exclusively for the automotive sector with email, SMS, and social media communications that are automated, dynamic, and personalized. Welcome, Jeremy.
Hiya, how you doing?
Very good, thanks. You?
Yeah, really good, really good. Sun is shining, happy days.
Yeah, brilliant. So now I've known you for a number of years and we've had some great nights out at various motor trade functions. But to enable our viewers to get to know you a little better, a regular feature of this podcast series is the guest icebreaker. So please tell us 3 interesting facts about yourself, 2 of which are true and 1 that isn't. We'll then let the viewers ponder this during the podcast, and I'll ask you to reveal which are true and which is false at the end.
Okay, so those that know me well in the industry know I love my sport. So I've got 3 sporting facts for you. So number 1, I've played rugby at the Millennium Stadium, now the Principality Stadium in Cardiff. Number 2, I've played football at Highbury when it was the home of Arsenal. And number 3, I've raced on the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit.
Brilliant.
So 2 of those are true, 1 isn't.
1 false, right. Well, look, thanks for that, Jeremy. We'll allow our viewers to cogitate on this during the podcast, and I'll ask you to reveal all at the end. Okay, let's learn a little bit more about Jeremy Evans. Tell us about you, your background, and how you ended up where you are today.
So I guess it's a tale of 2 careers. One was high street retail. So when I left high street retail and joined automotive, I was a Boots store manager of all things. But during my rise to become a store manager at Boots, I did lots of marketing secondments, and that was where I realised that was what kind of got me going and that I enjoyed most. The general management element, I opened up a brand new store for Boots. So in the first year, a lot of that was marketing activity, but then it settled into the humdrum of kind of, how much stock did you have, with the staff happy, all that kind of stuff. So, and not awful lot of marketing activity because it was all done centrally. So I decided that marketing was where I wanted to be. Did some Chartered Institute of Marketing courses to get some of the kind of theory behind marketing. Realised that actually the educational side of marketing, although the theory background is really useful, the practical side of it is always going to be behind what's happening in the real world. So decided that actually I was going to specialise in marketing. So I looked around within Boots initially for more marketing roles. Nothing really jumped out at me, so started looking in kind of trade publications for marketing roles outside of high street retail, and found one which Ford were advertising at the time called Service Marketing Specialist, which was a kind of part dual-funded Ford role placed at a dealership where you got under the skin of the service department and you were responsible for developing marketing strategies within service departments of Ford dealers. So I joined Bristol Street in Bromley, and I don't know if he'll watch it, but John Trow was my mentor there and absolute legend, and became their service marketing specialist. So I'd worked in high street retail. I'd worked for Boots when we launched the Advantage card, and I was on the kind of local marketing program for that. And that was all about understanding consumers' buyer behavior so that you could get ahead of them, if you like, and be there when they were looking for what they wanted next. And I arrived in automotive and was presented with this thing called Kerridge. I think it was Rev 7.3 at the time, where all this data was held already. And I thought, wow, Boots have just spent £10 million launching Advantage card to gather this data, and we've got it all here in this Kerridge system. But guess what? Half the data was missing. The other half's probably incorrect. So I set up all sorts of missing information reports on dot matrix printer paper that got sent around the dealerships in our little CMA to try and improve data. Fast forward 20 odd years, we're still doing the same thing, but online. So I went from Bristol Street to Birchwood as group marketing manager, and then went manufacturer side with Nissan. Did a couple of years as a regional marketing manager with Nissan, actually employed by their agency, TBWA. And then saw lots of dealerships where there were good people, good knowledge, good understanding, but no resource to actually put half of these things into play. So some of the independent kind of standalone locations and some of the small groups didn't really have any in-house marketing resource. If you were lucky, they had a database coordinator who could pull data out for mail shots, but that was about it. But the general managers, the owners of those businesses had some really clever ideas and good thought processes and some budget, but they didn't really have the in-house expertise to put them in action. So marketing delivery was born. So originally set up to be that kind of dealer marketing service, outsourced marketing service for the smaller dealer groups. And that quickly turned into how do we, as small dealers, adopt tech better. So it was in the early days of email marketing. So you would have emails from the likes of Boots or Tesco from the Club Card or Amazon or Thomas Cook Holidays, whatever it was. And lots of dealers were saying to me, how do I get my things out like this? How do I get my communications, sales communications, service communications out electronically rather than sticking things in the post and not knowing what happens next with them? So that's when the first version of our data hub was set up back in 2000. Well, I started the company in 2007. And by mid-2008, I had the first version of the data hub set up to pull data in from dealer management systems and lead management systems. And marketing delivery in its current form, first iteration of really was kind of came along from that.
Brilliant. And look, pretty much ahead of the game at that point, because we're talking now, 17, 18 years ago. Interesting, you mentioned the dot matrix printers. Take me back to my time in the print industry, selling print and transactional print to dealer groups and dealer franchises. Kerridge V7.3, and we used to sell that listing paper. Sell all the transactional print. And your background at Birchwood, did some work with Birchwood a couple of years ago. Good bunch of guys there.
And it comes full circle. They're a client now. It's
so that's great. So look, interesting stuff on the background there. I suppose as founder of Marketing Delivery, just tell us a little bit about, you've given me some sort of a brief indicator how that's set up. What about the history since then? And what's the current mission of the business?
Yeah, so since then, it's been iteration after iteration after iteration. We started off plugging other people's software in because, at the time, it's probably 3 or 4 of us. None of us with a tech background. Just kind of, we brought in somebody to write this data hub for us, which was a little Mac mini server that sat on my desk and the original iteration of. And we plugged the data from that into third-party email systems, SMS systems to get the things sent out. And we found ourselves going through iteration after iteration of building little bits of middleware to do what we wanted to do with the data, because we obviously understood dealer data because we were all from dealership backgrounds. So we understood, we'd been there with Kerridge, with Pinewood, with all the different systems that we were putting. eGood Manners at the time was the sales system of choice, mostly, with a bit of Contact Advantage. So we understood how those systems worked and what we wanted to get out of the data that sat within them. So we ended up bringing in a developer or two to build us some little middleware bits of software to make the data give us what we wanted to then plug into these broadcast platforms. And we carried on like that for quite a while. Obviously, the data hub went from on my desk to in a cloud, and became more kind of complex. And we pulled more data, we ran more reports, we started giving feedback to dealers on the quality of that data. So, like I said, what used to be on a dot matrix printout in Bristol Street, Bromley, in 2001 became a missing data report on a screen that people can access from their laptop. But then we got to just before COVID, really, kind of late 2017, 18 into 19, where we decided we're building more and more bits of middleware to try and glue this together. We're better off building the whole thing now. So we decided to go and build the automotive version of MailChimp, if you like, that was designed around the contact plans that we had in place for sales and service with our dealerships. So we probably had a couple of hundred dealerships at the time that we were working with. And that's kind of sales inquiry nurturing programs where we're following up people on open inquiries and lost sales, service reminder, MOT reminder processes. We were trying to get what is now known as stock alerts running, where we would take a feed for used car stock, match it with open inquiries, and try and keep customers up to date of changing stock. So the first iterations of that were coming through. So we decided to build the whole thing, put it all together under one kind of banner, if you like, and that was where we got VoiceBox from. Obviously, COVID then hit, and we were spending money like it was going out of fashion because we were building software for the first time. So we kind of held our nerve a bit. We obviously had to ramp things down a little bit, but we held our nerve, kept going with the design and build of VoiceBox. And then when we got through 2020 into 2021, we started migrating clients onto it. The beauty of that is because it's our software, because we built it, we can build extensions to that for whatever we want to do. So we've had clients ask us, could you do a telecoms module so that we can drop into call pots for follow-up? it's the same data we use for emails and text messages, so why not? So we built it. It's called Leadbox. We built it, deployed it, and now we've got probably half of our clients using it. Our reporting platform is called Brainbox, and we added SMS to the Leadbox. So we have got Leadbox Live, where a service advisor can text somebody in real time during the day when they're in for service. So we just keep adding functionality to it based on feedback that we're getting from our clients. And I guess for us, it's about using the right tech, not just using tech for tech's sake, but using the right tech. So good example for you, been asked a lot about WhatsApp. Do you do WhatsApp as part of your solutions? And we've gone, no, because we're not convinced we as consumers would use it with a business. We've got some clients trialing it with other tech providers. We had one come back to us this week and say, can you take WhatsApp off all of our messages because we've tried it and we're getting massive unsubscribes.
Right.
So we were validated, if you like, in going, our gut says we don't think that's going to work. We don't think consumers are going to engage with it. And sure enough, the clients that have tried it as kind of early adopters with some other tech companies out there have fed back the same thing, that we're not getting anything from it. In fact, if anything, it's detrimental because people are unsubscribing. WhatsApp is very much seen as a personal or group friend chat conversation. It's not something for businesses to target. And the actions of customers have said, no, we don't want to do this. So we're all about what tech do we think customers will interact with and deploy that, rather than just do any old tech for tech's sake because it's a buzzword or it's something that people are getting excited about because it's new and shiny. But actually, will people use it? Will they engage? Will it enhance that customer communication? Our mission is all about keeping dealers in touch with their customers, and it's about using the channels that customers want to use, not try and force them down a channel. So we've seen too much, you have to set up an account on a website and everything we do will be through that account. Well, I don't want to set up another account. I don't want to remember another password. I want you to pick up my conversation and engage with me. And if I want to reply to an email, I don't want it to come up with no reply at email address. I can't reply to you. I might want to reply. I don't want to push a button and fill a form in on your website. I want to just reply. If I want to reply to your text message, I don't want to have to reply to a different number that sent me the text. I just want to reply to the text. So the tech we build is all about how do we make it easy for customers to keep that communication going with the dealership. And I guess the proof is in the pudding with the open rates and kind of click-through rates and response rates that we get. I think I said to you just before the podcast went live that we've put on about 100 dealer rooftops in the last kind of year, 18 months, and that's because the results speak for themselves.
Yeah, and look, I think last few years of Imperial, we started to concentrate on lead quality, lead nurturing.
Yeah,
there was always the vanity piece. We're generating 2,000 leads a day, and but if you're not communicating with them as the customer wants to be communicated with, and you're right, our mantra towards the end of Imperial was let the customer buy the car the way they want to. Don't force them down a particular route. So in the physical or the remote sales process, if the customer wants to communicate through that channel, let's work with them on that channel. Let's not try and force them into another channel. Absolutely. If they want to buy the car remotely and click and collect, let them do it. If they want to come to site and have the full experience, let them do it. And I think there's too much now. And look, I think I was on a call with a dealer yesterday, 400 cars in stock, asked the usual question I asked them, which is how many leads do you get? And he said, I don't know. And then how well do your team of 6 sales execs manage and nurture those leads? What do you mean? Well, how many times do they contact them? How many times do they ring back? When do they chase them for a follow-up? Well, I don't know. And I think that's where looking at some of this automation now, and I'm glad at the moment, Jeremy, you've not used the AI term. That's good. But looking at this automation now and the level of automation that exists to allow that nurturing to be done by systems in the right way at the right time. And it releases the dealers and their staff and their teams to deal with the stuff that systems can't deal with. Managing the test drive, building that rapport with the customer once they're in the showroom, going through all the different options maybe with them in showroom and giving them the time to then go into deeper discussions around potential value-add product sales.
I mean, AI is an interesting one, isn't it? Because, if you try and get a definition of AI, it doesn't exist. AI is such a catch-all umbrella term for anything remotely automated or algorithmic. I heard it referred to as algorithmic intelligence the other day. I thought, well, in that case, we do it. We've been doing it for years. Our algorithms have got ever more complex, so we probably should call them AI. because they're probably more complex than most of the AI that's out there.
Yeah.
Or is AI just a conversation? Is it just a chatbot on a website?
I think it covers a multitude of
AI, you know,
multitude of sins and multitude. I mean, some of the AI stuff I've seen has been fantastic. But what is AI? You've got Apple intelligence, Auto Trader intelligence, artificial intelligence. I mean, it's clearly, as you said earlier, around this sort of buzzword piece. It has value, massive value in certain instances. But as you rightly say, algorithmic. Understanding when and how to communicate with the right message to the customer using systems has been around for a long time.
And what happens next? If the customer engages or does something, is there a next step pre-programmed, ready to go, and other options for that communication? So for me, you've got automation, which is you send something out based on what the data says, but then you've got that advanced step, which is about what happens next, so what? So if we send somebody 7 used cars that have come into stock and they click on one of them, so what? So objective is get them to the dealer website to have a look at that car again on their VDP. Perfect. We've done that. But what about sending the site an alert to say, Mr. Smith's on your website now looking at that Ferrari, What about if you clicked on a car, if we've sent you 7 Hyundai Tucsons and they're used cars, one of those used cars might be a new car that's in stock, ready for sale. It might be a demo. It might be a 6-7-year-old used car. So you could have a car from 50 grand to 15 grand presented to you. If you click on a car that's 20 grand and our system automatically then recalculates your price range to say, right, we only need to send in cars within maybe 30% of this price range, not everything at the top and everything at the bottom. Is that AI? You can argue it is, because it's recalculating and doing something and learning about you, the customer, every time you click on something, and it recalculating, and next time it sends you something, it'll be slightly more relevant than the last one was. And we don't call it AI. We just call it advanced automation algorithms, programmatic, all of those words. But it's probably AI. We're not
going to see a AI box coming out soon. Then
we haven't. What we are looking at things like how do our emails get read out of hours?
Okay, yeah.
So, if a customer reply, and we see customer replies come in at 10 o'clock at night. So if somebody's answered a service reminder, for example, and said, could I book it in for Thursday, the 11th of April? I don't know if that is a Thursday, might be Friday, but never mind. Can I book it in for that day at Hopstay? Now, at the moment, that'll get picked up by somebody the following morning, hopefully. But because if it's for example, with us, we're a Key Loop partner. If it's a Key Loop dealership, there's nothing really to stop us automatically making that service booking and pinging something back to the customer that says, yep, all done for you at 10, 11 o'clock at night. If it's an inquiry if it's a sales inquiry and said, is this Tucson still in stock? Can I come and test drive it tomorrow? Again, is there something that we can build and write that will go back to that customer and say, yep, still in stock. I'll book an appointment with you, with James at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And again, if it's let's say it's a lost sale and somebody's clicked a button and said, no, I'm still looking for a car, with some systems, we can reignite that sale automatically through APIs and connectivity and say, right, okay, Mr. Smith's not lost. Let's set up a new inquiry for him so that you can deal with him and handle him again. Other systems don't receive that kind of data from third parties, so we can't do that. But all of that stuff, you look at that and you go, that's all. So what? What happens next? If a customer gets a message, what happens next with it? So you could make a convincing case to say that is machine learning, that is AI, because there's always a what's next. There's always a so what based on what the customer does and how they interact with it.
Yeah, and look, I mean, it's a decision tree at the end of the day, isn't it? And it's an if-then statement at every point of that. Yeah. If the customer does this, then do that. So. Yeah. And I think that out of hours piece is vitally important now as well. We don't want to be leaving consumers or customers, whether it's vehicle sales or after sales, waiting for a call from the after sales service desk and it doesn't get made until 11 o'clock the next day, So being able to automate and triage those inquiries, again, releases staff within the business to do what they need to be doing, which is dealing with customers walking into the service desk, getting them booked in, getting them sat down, understanding what their requirements are, raising the job card, all of that sort of stuff. So,
okay, for us, it's a matter of, do we partner with somebody who's already doing it, or do we build it ourselves? You had James from Impel.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
We've got some mutual clients, so it may be that we do some trials with them and say, well, you've got some stuff. If we could plug that into our stuff, would that mean that you don't have to build ours, we don't have to build yours? But then it also means that as well as plugging into him, we could plug into some of the others that are out there in the market as well. So, you know, we take data from all sorts of sources. You know, we could go and build a sales lead management system of our own. We've got enough experience and expertise to do it, but we take data from InquiryMax, DealerWeb, Mentor, Contact Advantage, you know, all of the players in the market, because dealers use different systems, and rather than compete with those systems providers, it's better for us to take data from them and enhance them and help them work harder by the kind of stuff that we do.
Yeah, and I think that's a great approach. I mean, I was involved building out a car buying system for a dealer up in Blackburn. James was part of that ecosystem in Pell. Yeah. There were about 3 or 4 other plug-in suppliers into that ecosystem. The work had been done in the background to link all of that via API. So it wasn't one car buying system built by one supplier. It was the best of a series of niche products, plugging in, working together, and delivering a great result.
Yeah, so you don't get best in class in all the individual niches rather than a jack of all trades, but not after none. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So look, what exciting projects, partnerships, or innovations can we look forward to now and into the future from marketing delivery?
So, as I kind of alluded to, really, that kind of partnership and putting ourselves at the centre of dealer data land is something that's core to us and will continue to be. So, for us, it's about developing more and more partnerships with other providers in the marketplace, whether that's DMS, lead management systems, after-sales systems, AI, chatbot providers, where we're committed to bringing as many of those together as possible to give almost like a single customer view, really. So we want people to be able to find it. You know, as you know, a consumer data can exist in 4 or 5 different systems within a dealership. So trying to find, what did that customer receive last? What did they interact with last? Or was it sales? Was it service? I don't know. You tell me. We know, because we've got that data coming in from all those different sources. So for us, it's about that continual evolution of bringing all those data sources together, so that we can identify where customers are in their life cycle, retain more of them with the businesses that we work with, and attract new ones. So whether that's, you know, the attracting new customer piece has changed over the years. So, you know, you used to go to marketing file and buy a load of insurance data to target people. You can't do that anymore. But what you can do is use Facebook and Instagram's algorithms and AI in the background to say, you know what people are looking at online. Find me a bunch of people that look like they're looking for my kind of cars in my kind of area. We've got stock, so we can target those people with that. So we can then follow them up on the dealer website when they get there. And then, so it's that kind of pre-inquiry phase for us has changed dramatically from where it was to where it is now, all with the same aim of bringing people to inquiry, where then the core voice box platform picks them up and kind of follows them up. The other thing is about getting dealers to understand what metrics to look for. So what is service retention? So, you know, we start with service retention with every vehicle that we can find to put into a pot that is due a service in a time period. Now, that could be somebody that's lapsed that we've rolled the service date to try and bring them back in. It could be somebody that owns a 10-year-old car and it's a franchise dealer. It could be somebody that owns a 1-year-old car and it's a franchise dealer. Now, also, we can break that pot down, those pots down into different sizes to go your 1 to 3 service retention, your 4 to 6, your 7 plus, your out of area, your in area. But we work with dealers quite closely on who are you targeting, how are you measuring it, as you said before, you know, going in somewhere and saying how many, you know, for our perspective, how many vehicles were due a service last month? I don't know. How many of them were sent some kind of contact? Oh, they've all had something. Okay. How many of them had more than one? Our DMS only allows us to send one. Okay. Well, when did you send it to them? Oh, 28 days before it was due. What's your lead time in your workshop? About 4 weeks. Okay. So it's about working with dealers to understand their data, what it's telling us, and construct those contact plans accurately for them. There's no one size fits all in this. It really is about going, right, understanding your business, Mr. Dealer. And if it could be a dealer group that's got 10 or 15 businesses, and the contact plan can be tweaked and be slightly different for each one. It's about that understanding of the dealer data and the flexibility to say, right, this is what we think will work for you.
Yeah, and I've seen it in dealer groups, you know, VHC, great lead generator.
Yeah.
You go into a dealer group and say, well, when did you last follow those up? Oh, well, we've got about a 6 months backlog. Yeah. Well, what the hell are you doing? This is great great generator for work. You're doing the job at the front end, but then you're just leaving it and hoping the customer's going to come back with some amber work in 2 months' time.
Recalls, there's another one. Recalls, we've done some work with dealers on safety recalls explicitly to bring back in lapsed customers.
Yeah.
And some dealers get it and they go, brilliant. Yeah, I know some of the work is going to be, 0.1, but it gets them back into my dealership, gets them on the ramp. We'll do a health check while it's in. It gets all their data updated, so we bring them back into the contact plan. And then we get other dealers go, nah, they're only 0.1 jobs. There's no point. It'll cost me too much money.
It's having that longer view, and that.
Yeah.
So look, Jeremy, great chatting to you today. Really enjoyed our chat. Coming to the end of our time. So in conclusion, whether it's customer relationship management, fostering customer engagement and retention, or managing social media, marketing delivery can help improve your vehicle sales and after-sales performance. And I think key to that is the fact that you've got 360-degree view of a dealer's data if they're plugged into you for everything.
Yeah.
So it really only remains now for me to just return to the icebreaker question for our viewers. So which of the three interesting facts was in fact false?
So again, those that know me know that I'm a passionate Welsh rugby fan, but unfortunately I've never played rugby at the Millennium Stadium.
Oh,
now, I have played football at Highbury and I have regularly raced at Silverstone, but I've never played rugby at the Millennium Stadium.
So bucket list is to get onto that pitch at the Millennium.
Absolutely, yeah.
Brilliant. All right, if you do, invite me along, I'll come and watch.
I'll put you in the bowl.
Yeah.
We'll have some lunch.
Definitely. Look, thanks again, Jeremy, for your time today. For more information about marketing delivery, visit the website, www.marketingdelivery.co.uk, or message Jeremy on LinkedIn. Thank you for watching, and a quick reminder that here at Motivate, we offer 1 hour remote one-to-one dealer discovery sessions for free. To learn more about these sessions and why you should book one, visit our website, www.motivate.co.uk. Goodbye, everybody.